The Utility Board public meeting for July 20th, 2021 is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Jen.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
Julia Rivera is absent. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Randy Niemeyer.
Present.
Colleen Sheehan. Here. Richard Sharp.
Here.
I am present. Rick Everly.
Present.
David Austin.
Present. Thank you. New business, approval of the minutes from June 15th, 2021. Do we have a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes? So moved. Motion by John,
I'll second.
second by Colleen. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Number 2, discussion of the comprehensive master plan utility study by Neese Engineering.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an issue that Rick Everly and I have been discussing regarding mainly the west side. The east side, we have a very good handle on improvements that not only need to be made, but are currently being designed and permitted to be made on not only the water, but the wastewater system as well. What our recommendation would be is, on a staff level, we work through determining the boundaries of the areas to be served and analyzed so that they're reasonable, expected development, and then we can apportion not only existing capacity, not only for water and sewer, which we have a better idea on water than sewer, because the recent capital improvement plan that we had prepared through 2040 is the most recent IURC rate case that was completed last year. And then once that boundary determination is made, we can move forward on looking at what capacity is available on the sanitary side and make recommendations for improvements in coordination with the West Side Interceptor Projects 1, 2, and then moving forward to service those areas within the West Side system and taking additional areas out of the current Lowerman Interceptor that are tributary to Lift Station 3, that we can intercept those by gravity or the relocation of force mains within that West Side area, specifically Lift Station 11 and the more recently installed Rose Garden Lift Station, and potentially provide excess or de facto capacity within that West Side system to be able to provide additional opportunities for development should the Utility Board and Town Council choose to move forward with that. So I think at this point, and Rick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we'd be looking for direction to coordinate on a staff level recommendation to you, be prepared for your next meeting on recommended boundaries, and then we can move forward subsequent to that.
Okay, sounds good to me. Rick, you got anything to add to that?
No, I agree. Well said, Neil.
Thank you.
Any further? Go ahead.
Question.
Yes.
Questions? So, does this dive into the big picture details of water utility development as well?
It does, it does. The good thing is part of the capital improvement plan that we prepared for the IURC in 2020 lays out very specific time range for operations, maintenance, capital projects, repairs, replacements, and upgrades within the next 2 years, specifically on the west side for your existing production facilities. But not only that, to provide additional areas where we would look for additional production and storage on the west side to the tune of approximately 1 million gallons of storage, whether it be on the ground with high service pumps to provide that pressure to the system, or an elevated tank, depending on what the most
Are these things that, in the planning process, that can be put together that allows for timelines to be a little more accelerated should we procure the partners in the marketplace, whether they be developers or commercial interests that can help us move this stuff along? Because there's a moment in time, you know, for everything, and I think that, you know, in the private citizen hat that I wear, sometimes you look at different projects that different government entities are a part of, and you scratch your head and you say, why didn't they think of that? Right, so one of the things I want to make sure of, that while we're here, is let's not look back 20 years ago and say, well, why didn't we think of that? Or have another group sitting up here and say, those guys were a bunch of numbskulls, right? They didn't think bigger and faster and more flexible. So anything that we do in that planning process, I think it would be good for us to look at ways to shift gears midstream when there's opportunities and think bigger than what we're doing right now. We're kind of thinking a piece at a time,
Yeah.
where we got to think about a whole system.
Yeah.
Like the
that's a
looping of
great
the
point.
system is like, you know, the water system especially, that's so extremely important to get it to where it's all the way around the lake. Now, it's hard to get there, I get it, but there's so much activity and interest that if we're not ready when the opportunity is there, we're going to be trying to pick up the pieces of the fragmented system that continues to be developed.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. The interconnection on the north end would be absolutely something to consider. At some point, natural growth would bring that looping around the south end of the lake. And
So things like, maybe as part of future development, even properties that aren't located within town right now, looking at doing a broad-based mapping, fracture trace analysis of supply points. So we got X's on maps of these adjacent properties to Cedar Lake, so that as they develop, supply points can be developed, wellhead protection areas can be developed within developments to make sure that we protect those supply points to continue to create sourcing of water for our towers, and that way relieving some pressure on individual aquifers as well.
Yeah, that's huge,
yeah,
because it's a little scary.
So as part of that
See what's
plan,
happened here in the decade.
trying to find a way to incorporate into that, you know, the sourcing of water, you know, along with all of those technical terms, the bottom line is, without water, nothing happens here. You know, I explained to some people that the town is still kind of an infant when it comes to water utility.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
When you have 5,500 plus addresses and
So is this
2,000 customers.
50/50, the comprehensive plan 50/50 in your eyes, sewer, water, or is it 60/40?
Excellent question. I would think once we get more into it, we could refine that number, but I think 50/50 is a good place to start.
Okay.
The one benefit on the water side is we already have a capital improvement plan. We know where we're at in terms of capacity on the west side, you know, coordinating with the water utility. And we're also in a good spot on the sanitary sewer side in terms of what we've looked at and opportunities within the continuation of the West Side Interceptor Project 1 and 2, and then moving forward. And, yeah, to your point, Randy, I had a conversation with Kurt Kent at Peerless over the past couple of weeks, and that fracture trace analysis on not only the west side,
We need to get a
but the
really
east
big
side.
map, like everything within our planning area, things that aren't even in town.
And I would
We need
recommend,
to get X's on a map.
yeah, recommend starting with the comprehensive plan as a place to start, of
Yes.
looking at that and saying, okay, how far do we want to go? And is that something that the utility board and the town council is?
Again, it's like, you know, sitting there, sometimes when I'm driving a truck, I think about this stuff and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why aren't we thinking bigger and projecting out a little more? This isn't all about today.
No, and I think one of the most important things that would come as a mechanism to move things forward quicker would be the IURC issue that we unfortunately had to deal with for quite some time. If we can move past that, that would be advisable, to be sure.
I'm confident we will in the very near future, but in the planning process of this, that comprehensive master utility plan, we need to blow up our traditional way of thinking.
Yeah. Do we need to take action on this tonight? And
Listen
I
to
didn't see
discussion items.
Discussion, yeah.
I think it's good to move in the direction of knowing where we're at, because a lot of people rely on utilities.
It's all about, I mean, everything that,
We need a backup plan.
everything we should be doing in public service is about who's next,
Yeah.
right? So if we're doing that and thinking in that way, then let's start putting that roadmap together right now, so that the people who are next don't call us a bunch of knuckleheads for sitting up here and not doing our job the right way.
No, you want to leave everything in a better position than what you found.
Sure,
Yeah, much better.
and going
Mr.
forward.
President, is there a suggestion to be made to Neil and his firm that they put some parameters together and an outline of the scope of what this project entails for your input and for ultimately your approval?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Neil, you were talking about, go ahead.
Yeah, we can work with Rick and staff, prior to the next meeting to, coordinate.
We'll have something prior to the next meeting, okay.
A defined scope, coordinate with the comprehensive plan and recommend something to you that would, meet the needs that you discussed, tonight.
Thank you for the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Anybody else on this? Move to new business number 3. Potential adjustment to the Lakedale Regional Waste District capital billing cost. Rick?
Mr. President, after we had gotten the McMahon report that I understand is done on an annual basis, I was reviewing that and trying to familiarize myself with how it is we bill Lakedale and what for and those types of things. We bill them based on their percentage of the usage of the plant, essentially, which is rounded at 3.7%. But that 3.7 is charged, is multiplied against a couple of factors, one of which is the expenses, the monthly, I guess it's an average monthly expense, I think, Jen, that was $57,000.
So it is derived from our billing from Lowell.
Right.
Ultimately, I would like some more time to work with Sue to analyze Lakedale. I talked to Sue earlier today. I just don't know enough history about Lakedale and the billing, and unfortunately, all last week, my utility billing supervisor was on vacation, so I would like a little bit more time to dive into this with Sue,
As
find
would
out
I,
where we're at.
right. But I believe we're multiplying the percentage, 3.7%, against a figure that's too low, based on the McMahon report.
Yeah, that's what
McMahon report.
I talked to Sue briefly in the hall with Jennifer, she indicated that, so I think we need to get the...
Right. So we'll bring a recommendation to you at next month's meeting for a potential adjustment to that. And naturally, we would advise Lakedale of what we're considering.
Sure.
But just seems to me that the number's too low.
Now, if we decide on something next meeting, would that go into effect in 2022? Our increase to Lakedale?
That depends on the contract.
Okay.
That has to be looked at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
But we need to get that first, so.
Yeah.
Good find, Rick.
Okay.
Good find.
Yeah.
By you and Margaret.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else have any questions on the Lakedale?
No, sir.
Thank you. Number 4, Lakeview Business Park Water Recapture Agreement.
This is that recapture agreement for, as you mentioned, Lakeview, or what we've been calling CLBD, and this would be a potential recapture of the expense for them to extend a water main from the north side of 141st Avenue, across from the middle school, all the way to what is the southeast corner of their property. Neil, I don't know if you remember that distance, something like 1,600 feet.
I don't have the plans on me, but
Just ballpark.
that sounds right.
And they have to identify their costs, hard costs and soft costs of doing that. They need to identify benefited parcels along the way, parcels that could potentially benefit from the extension of this water main. This isn't ready for an action tonight.
Sure.
I know that Neil's had at least one conversation with Jack Hulls, and we're trying to get a little more information on exactly what they're proposing. So I would expect this to come back before you again next month, cleaned up a bit. But it is an effort to get a recapture of the off-site expenses that they're going to incur to get potable water to their site.
So I'll jump in a little bit on this. This begs for some good policy development, because this won't be the last time we see a request like this. So again, a comprehensive approach to this that allows us to have a template in place that we can easily apply to many different situations for these extra jurisdictional and main extensions and utility improvements that won't impact our ratepayers. So when we find the right partnerships, we got to have some governing policies. So
Right. And this is no expense to us, doesn't cost us
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
Recapture agreements, as Dave can tell you, are by statute, they're 15-year agreements. They're entitled to 8% per annum return on their money. It's no guarantee that they'll ever get their money back, because if those benefited parcels don't develop and don't tap into the main, then the developer is on the hook for the cost of extending the main anyway. So it's a bit of a gamble on their part, but given the rate of development here in town, it's not a big gamble, in my opinion, on their part.
Especially on the 41 corridor.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's something that we'll bring back to you, I would imagine, at the next meeting.
Very good. Thanks, Brett. Number 5, Peerless Midwest Proposal, testing of the Lighthouse Well Facility. Neil?
What you have before you tonight is a conversation that we've worked through with Peerless. They installed the wells at the Paradise Cove facility that the town now owns, and they also performed the fracture trace analysis prior to that installation back several years ago. And I reached out to them and requested 2 well step tests on well 1 and well 2, and they provided a proposal for that, including what you see in front of you, 2 items, 200 gallons a minute, and then max capacity of the wells, which we have and we've reviewed with them. And then subsequent to that, they'll chlorinate the wells, retest them, make sure that the bacteriological samples come back clean, and then install the equipment back in place. And what the purpose of this is to determine what limitations or opportunities we have within those 2 wells on Paradise Cove directly west of Morse to supplement what the project is currently being proposed to have additional production facility on the east side, interconnect that system with Robin's Nest through the south end of Lakeside 2, through Lakeside up to 133rd, to have supplemental and redundant sources of supply.
Very good. How far apart are the 2 wells?
140 feet plus or minus.
I always thought there was a wellhead protection area that you had to stay within. Is one well smaller than the other?
In terms of capacity of the pumps that are in there, yes.
Okay.
One's 550, I believe, and the other's 275.
So they're both supplying water?
They're both supplying
Every day.
water, yes. And there's been some repairs that have been investigated and scheduled, and staff's handling that, and from what I understand, they're doing a fine job.
Super, thank you.
Neil, I have, this doesn't actually pertain to this, but you sent me this design map.
Yeah, that was a concept map of a way to connect the Paradise Cove facility to the south end of Lakeside 2.
Yeah, and one is A and one is B, and the B seems to be shorter than the A, but what I was thinking, would the cost be less to do the A than the B, or do you have that answer?
Unfortunately, I don't, because as John just mentioned, it is a concept. Sometimes the shorter route may have more properties that are associated with it for acquisition that, on a cost basis, may be negligible, but in terms of time basis, could be extraordinary. So we are working on a staff level with developers in the east side area to potentially have other options above and beyond that, but that was a concept we put together back in 2018 when the realization following the Robin's Nest hydraulic network analysis determined that we had limitations on production capacity in that system, and what would be the most cost-beneficial way for the users and ratepayers in the town to connect an additional source of supply between the new system and the existing system at Robin's Nest.
And Neil, Mr. Chairman, do we need action on this in order to?
Do we need to approve this, Rick?
To approve
Do you think we approve the proposal?
Vote for 8940?
I would recommend that.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
before we go to a motion, John?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this an appropriate time to ask Neil and his firm to consider a more expansive testing project, notably for the east and south sides of the town, related to source and supply?
we've had that conversation, as a byproduct of this. And my understanding is the contractor, Fearless Midwest, has also been in contact with, additional developers to the south, and they're moving forward with that. I do have a copy of the fracture trace analysis, that was done in the past.
Shouldn't that be a part of the master plan we just discussed?
It could be, and we're working, recommendation to prepare a proposal from the subcontractor, to the utility. But yeah, that's a good
They're
point.
also in movement.
Right, no, it's happening as
They're
we
here,
speak.
they're in town, they're working.
And so at the end of the day, also,
Joseph Wright.
can we answer the question, are we going big enough with this tower?
Maybe not.
Ultimately, it's production, and can production fill the tower?
Right, so if part of their analysis is looking at some of that, do we have the production to fill a tower that's maybe even a little bit bigger?
That would be ideal, absolutely.
Okay, well, then
But
let's
that- we can look
take a
at
look
that,
at that.
right?
Yeah, to
Okay.
be sure.
That's the reason for the question.
I gotcha. Yeah, because we're in the midst of moving forward with the tower.
Now's the time.
Well,
right.
once the...
Why make it too small?
Once the tower is built, as we saw on the west side, when the water utility was improved on the west side and the tower was built, the houses came up like somebody planted seeds. I expect the same thing's gonna happen on the east side when the tower's built. So we'll go from 0 to 100% pretty fast. And with all of these lawns sprinkling even every other day,
Yeah.
there's still gonna be a massive draw on the water, that's gonna put some stress on the system. So while we have somebody like Peerless out, let's take a look at what we can do with our current system and what we might need to do.
So maybe we might need to do an engineering change order to this quote that we have. Once a meeting between Rick,
Yeah, I
Public Works
think we could
and Neil.
approve what's in front of us,
I think we can do
and
that.
if there's something added to a proposal, we can approve that on its own separate
Yeah.
basis.
The next meeting, man.
I think that's a good idea, Rick.
Yeah, and to your point, John, the fracture trace analysis, those are not, field investigations, those are all done by aerial imagery and, LiDAR.
Okay.
So those are all done by a hydrogeologist, essentially in the office. So if you like, working through Rick, we can come back next month, coordinating with them, to have that for your consideration.
Yeah, tell me we want them to do that and include it in that price of $89.40.
Yes.
What they come back.
Same.
Right on, John.
I'll get
You're
around
talking. We want a partner.
Yep.
I'll get right back to you.
You're talking.
I thought we got a
10%
discount.
If we do that, if we add extra?
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve this Peerless Midwest proposal for $8,940 for the mobilize, isolate the well that we just discussed at the property next door.
Thank you, John. Motion by John,
Second.
second by Ralph. Jennifer, roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, very good. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Randy. Thank you,
Neil, how
John.
many copies of the signed contract do you need? Just the one? So, Mr. Chairman, if you could sign that and give that, you want it this evening before you leave here?
Or just scan it and send it to me.
Doesn't our clerk need an original too? Do we have to?
Randy and Rick will have to sign it.
They can take a scanned copy, it's fine.
Oh, that's bad.
Okay, we can
Okay.
get it done, whatever.
We'll do
Yeah.
that.
We'll handle it, yeah, okay. Thank you. Written report, our fund report from our clerk treasurer, Jennifer.
The cash and expenditure reports were previously emailed to you over the weekend. At this time, I really don't have much more to report. After catching Sue this morning, we have quite a bit of work to do on numerous items, so that work is just ongoing.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jen. Consultant and staff reports, our engineer from Neil.
Yes, Mr. President. Items 1 and 2, we'll do together. Project 1 is designed. We will need to update the IDEM permit upon completion and acquisition of the easement parcels. Project 2, that easements have been completed and delivered ahead of schedule to your attorney and town staff, and they are proceeding with the appraisals and moving forward with acquisition on that. So upon completion of the easements now, we have proceeded with design, and we will be on schedule with that item as well.
Thank you.
Much less than 210 days based on our design schedule.
Thank you, because that was gonna be my question.
Yeah, we did have 210 days, but we had a couple interns this year, so I was able to have them start on some of the
Oh, okay.
ministerial stuff.
Put them to good use.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's good.
Rented fuels. So we're moving forward on that, and we'll be ahead of the schedule.
Very good. Thanks, Neil.
Purdue kids, Neil?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I wanna know.
Yeah, we were through their Interns for Indiana program, and it's a great program for them and for us. Eastside Sanitary Sewer Interceptor, we're coordinating with the contractors for the recommended remedial measures for not only the manholes, but the sanitary sewer rehab as well. And our intention is to have a review with Dave and staff prior to your next council or utility board meeting to make that recommendation. I have talked to several of the contractors, and based on certain federal issues with having money available, they're incredibly busy. So if that unfortunately doesn't happen by the August meeting, we'll have it by September to be sure.
Okay.
A question real quick on that one. Are we done with gathering data on the I&I on the east side, or where are we at on that project?
We're done gathering data on the interceptor on the east side. Public Works has got meters, they've done videotapes, and they've provided all that data to us over the past year. And item 3 is a result of that data gathering, analysis, and recommendation and design for the remedial measures. There are additional items to be done relative to sump pump inspections, downspout inspections, smoke testing, and that's something that still will need to be completed.
What's the schedule look like on that? Is that dependent upon what factors?
I would say it's a staffing issue. As you mentioned, with all the development going on, your staff is incredibly busy and they're stretched thin.
Are there people out there that can do this?
There are, and I've seen them hired in the past, but generally you have better results with staff doing that work because they know the residents, they know the community.
And I'll go the opposite, are the people that can do the other work that would allow our staff to do this work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just trying to find ways to solve problems here because, you know, the clock isn't stopping.
Absolutely.
Keep moving it along, yeah.
Yeah, we have to keep some things going and not use the I'm stuck excuse all the time. We gotta get creative.
Yeah, and all the data they provided us show that there's sufficient capacity in that system for quite a bit of additional development that was part of the Eastside Sanitary Sewer Interceptor report delivered in November, I believe. The issue is the peak factors that we see during wet weather conditions, the I&I, absolutely correct. But yeah, I mean, one way to allow your staff additional time would be take some of the inspection requirements off them and give it to your town engineer, and CBEL, I think, can handle that quite well.
I mean, it's worth looking at these options when it comes to our utility improvements because these problems aren't correcting themselves. I mean, we just had some big storms recently and we're surcharging again out of Lowerman. So, I mean, these are sorts of things, it's just time to correct the problems. No matter what the excuses are, it's got to be done.
Agreed. Okay, so we have item 4, SSES. We are looking for additional videos to be provided, and Public Works is working on those from what I understand. Item 5, the Utopia subdivision. That work is proceeding on a staff level to give us the investigation that we need to complete that project, have it ready for bid as part of the IURC submittal through, additionally through the Indiana Finance Authority and SRF for those east side and west side water projects. Last item, item 6, the Risk and Resilience Program. That has been validated, and then by the year's end, there will be a recommendation for items to remediate potential items on a risk and resilience basis for your water system, both PW and SID numbers.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing, just for clarification, my understanding is to coordinate with Peerless in the next month to address the issues we talked about on more regional fracture trace analysis
Or sooner?
Yes.
or
Yes,
sooner.
yes.
Fair enough, okay,
Yes,
Will
think
do.
big, whatever we do, think big.
you got it, thanks.
Our Director of Operations.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On the sump pump installation, Randy, we had talked about maybe trying to find like a retired plumber and somebody to contact people and make these inspections in the evening after hours or something to try to get the ball rolling, but again, just every day goes by in a blink and it's been at the bottom of the list of getting done, but the only way really we can get it done is to do something of that nature. I mean,
And the only way we can really determine where we are on the map as far as capacity on the east side related to sewer is to get stuff done.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess we're just gonna have to take a dive here and say, let's,
Yeah, we got it, I mean, we have to have some manpower, we have to have something to get, I mean, we have 2 guys in the sewer department that are
Right.
tasked every
I
day.
get it.
Yeah.
So even they've been doing the camera and stuff happening in the evenings and, once or twice a week and getting that stuff chugging along. But
Well, maybe you
yeah,
guys could find somebody, bring them on part-time, retired folks that work in other municipalities.
And if you look at this from a fiscal standpoint, doing this kind of work and creating, a system that doesn't have all the I&I and that can then, facilitate a little more growth within the current system without investing in more trunk lines or new interceptors, it's better financially for the utility to invest in a couple of people
Right.
that can help us get over.
Well, I mean, if we'll work on doing that, I think that's the only way we can accomplish it in the
Very good.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
short term.
Thanks, Tim.
We had a nice sewer main break in the brand new South Shore subdivision on Bryan Street.
That's
right in the
perfect.
middle of the brand new.
I'm cool there.
Yeah, it's like 15 feet deep, and I don't know what happened, but I got the feeling that when they replaced the line 2 years ago, something got bumped, it was a clay tile, and it broke clear down at the bottom, so we got a nice 20-foot.
All brand new infrastructure.
How much of the road will have to go? 20 feet?
It's a 8-foot by 20-foot hole, it's not bad. It's dug up and back together. I don't think we do, and it's so far from the work that was done, it's 16 feet down, the tap was repaired, or they changed the line way away from it, so it's kind of a he said, she said,
So that's not a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty on that?
I don't think so. Don didn't bring up anything like that, he was out there and looked at it.
Oh, did Don say it?
He would have definitely said something if
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, he would.
Our next issue is we're.
And John, I sent you
Yeah.
pictures of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
I just
that.
couldn't tell how long it was, Bob.
Yeah.
I saw it was pretty deep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, our next problem is we're having trouble getting meter yokes now for the new houses. They're on back order, we've had them ordered for 3 months now and still don't have them. We're down to 0 now. We have none left. The guys have made up some couplings that in place of the yoke, they could put a spreader in basically to allow, they'll still both be able to go turn on the water. Rick talked to Sue Hayes and we're only gonna be able to charge those customers the minimum water usage.
Sure.
And until we get a yoke that we can put a meter in, so, unless anybody else has got any great ideas, that's all we could come up with to keep moving forward. We need to create some kind of a policy where people have 3 days or something to, that we let us come in and put a water meter in, because my fear is that once you get that deal with no water meter, you're paying a minimum bill every month and to get back in there. I don't know. I can foresee that happening. I don't know if it will or not, but I don't know if we can create some kind of a policy that says,
So, hey, Mr. Homeowner, if you want water, these are the parameters you.
I mean, if you don't contact us once we contact you that we have the parts, if we don't get a response in 3 days, we're shutting your water off. Something as simple as that, just so we can, it's gonna be a nightmare for everybody because they start billing and closings and meters, and it's gonna be a disaster to start handing these out. We're gonna start, we've gotten some together, we're gonna number them all, we're gonna identify the address where they all are, bring them to the billing people, so as they come in, we'll be able to go get those back and put the meters in.
Hey, Rick, I have an idea. All those cities and towns that we get these blanket emails with people asking questions, maybe it's our turn to fire one out and ask who has extra supply of these that we buy from someone else.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all in the same boat, but
They
I
don't
can
even
try to
have
help you.
they don't even have the brass, the raw brass from the mines to make the
Yeah.
brass, like, it's crazy. So it doesn't look like we're gonna be getting them like next week, and we have over 100 that have been over 3 months coming in, and we ordered another 200 already, just to get on the list.
Just to get on, yeah,
Nobody knows when
yeah.
they're gonna come, but.
Well, that's good.
And we did try to order additional ones when we knew there was gonna be a shortfall, but they just simply weren't available. Well, we saw this coming, but and we tried to order them, and they're not available.
The supply chain's a mess right now.
We got the
Every
meters,
industry.
we got meters, so we just don't have any way of.
Created by government,
Great.
irresponsible.
So hopefully with that, I don't know if you guys feel we should have some type of policy or something in effect where we start handing these, doing this, but I don't know, we were gonna try to take an average of the new construction houses and charge that water bill while the meters weren't installed, but Sue said we couldn't do anything.
Just minimum.
That was all we could do. So-
Anything other than the minimum would trigger an issue with the IURC because of rate.
Of course.
So the options are limited, but we need to continue moving forward, so. Then like Neil said, they did on the new wells over here by the lighthouse, one of the wells was bad, it was in fault, the controller's bad, the check valve was bad in the well. She was out and installed a new check valve. Ryan and Tony got a new drive ordered for the motor, and that should be in any day now to get that well back up and going again, so.
Okay.
That's it. Other than we're in the time of cleaning lift stations, trying to locate the rest of that stuff in Utopia. That's been fun, but they're chugging along, getting some of that done. We looked at trying to hire somebody to do that, and again, if we don't have our guys out there to point them in the direction, it's like, you know, the guys are like, if I come out here and do stuff, and if I don't have any guidance, so if I got my guy out there to help them, maybe as well be doing it ourselves. So we've tried a couple things to try to get somebody to do stuff, and it's not been easy, so that's where we are. That's all I got.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Town Attorney, David? GMOB, we have a meeting scheduled, is that correct? Maybe?
Maybe, yeah, I'm still trying to nail that down, Rick. We've got
Okay.
issues trying to find the date. Lowell asked us to wait until August, sometime after we expect the SWIFT grants to be announced, recipients to be announced. So that's why we decided not to try to do it this month, but we're having a difficult time trying to get that set. I think we tentatively have it set for August 22nd, but I've got to confirm.
That's still tentative? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rick. Next item, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Public comment, anybody on, Jen?
No.
Okay. This meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting is
Town Council public meeting to order for July 20th, 2021. We'll start with the pledge, and I believe Father John is in attendance for a prayer. Is he here or no?
Yes.
Okay. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father John?
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for the men and women of our nation who defend us. We give you thanks for the men and women of our town who protect us. Lord, we give you thanks for these men and women in front of us as members of the town council who assist the citizens of this town with their ordinances and regulations. Lord, give them wisdom, give them strength. Lord, we thank in a very special way all the veterans of our town, those who have come home, those who have lost their lives since they have come home. Again, we remember in a special way this night our brother in Christ, Paul Worley. May these faithful departed always rest in your peace. May we, the people of our town, always be in your arms. This we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Father John. Father John.
Thank you. Yes?
Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Here.
John Foreman?
Present.
Julia Rivera is absent. Ralph Miller?
Present.
Colleen Sheehan? Here. Richard Sharp?
Here.
Randy Niemeyer?
Present.
I am present. Rick Everly?
Present.
David Austin?
Present.
We have a quorum. We start with presentations. First one is A.J. Kleist, Eagle Scout Project. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you. So, actually, before I start, I do have some papers for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for my Eagle project, I would like to plan and build at least 3 My Free Little Libraries, which what they are is they are a box with however many books you decide to put in them. And the idea is you go to one of these boxes, you take a book, and you leave a different book. So that way the community has other ways to read books. So if you live on the opposite side of the lake as a library, you don't have to go as far. And I was hoping and planning to put at least 3, maybe 4, at some of the parks around town. The parks I have in mind are Kiwanis Park, one here at the town grounds, Potawatomi Park, and Hanover Park.
Great idea.
It's awesome. Guys always bring a
Where'd you
great
get the
project.
idea?
We're just kind of looking around for different Eagle project ideas, and I came across it and said, hey, that was pretty fun to do, so.
Okay. You're gonna construct all the boxes and everything?
Yes.
I like your detailed drawing of the front view and the craft paper. Good job.
Thank you.
You're gonna be an engineer, I think.
How is it, are you gonna dig holes and pour concrete for the posts?
No, I was actually planning on putting them in 5-gallon buckets and then cementing them in there so that way they're still movable if needed.
So we would obviously need to work with staff on location of each one of those to make sure they're in the right location.
Correct.
So,
Happy to do that.
Okay.
so with that, I would ask the council for a motion to approve the Eagle Scout project and the locations presented by Mr. Kleist for his, what were these called again?
My Free Little Library box.
What he said.
So
Motion by Bob,
Second.
second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion?
AJ, I'll just say, I have sometimes a tough time reading in the daytime because I went to night school.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes. Get 7-0, so.
6-0.
6-0, I'm sorry. I was having so much fun here.
Good job, AJ.
Thank you.
No, great job.
Great project.
Can't wait, it's an awesome
Great.
project.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
You need these?
Those you can keep, I just need this.
I kind of
Just
want that one.
That's what I wanted to keep. That's fine, thank you.
Awesome job.
Yeah.
Johnny there at night with the switching project, the switching
All right, next, we have swearing in of new officers, Benjamin Tomko and Richard Stirk. We have Chief Bill Fisher. Floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Council President Niemeyer and council members, in 2020, you approved the hiring of a new officer in the summer of 2021. With the recent retirement of Lieutenant Purcell, we had 2 vacancies currently with the department. The Board of Safety had comprised a list of 2 candidates in 2020 for the specific positions with a vote of 5 in favor and 0 against. Mr. Benjamin Tomko and Mr. Richard Stirk have completed all required testing and applications and were officially accepted into the Indiana Public Retirement PERF just this last Friday. With your permission, I would like to ask the Town of Cedar Lake Clerk Treasurer to issue the oath of office to Mr. Tomko and Mr. Stirk as new officers of the Cedar Lake Metropolitan Police Department.
Proceed.
If you want to take pictures, you can. That's why I'm moving this out of the way.
I just want to make sure it's in the right hand. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Benjamin Tomko,
I, Benjamin Tomko,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
I will faithfully support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the State of Indiana,
the ordinances of the Town of Cedar Lake,
the ordinances of the Town of Cedar Lake,
and the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Police Department,
and the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Police Department,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly discharge
and honestly discharge
the duties of my office as a probationary patrolman
the duties of my office as a probationary police officer,
of the Town of Cedar Lake Metropolitan Police Department,
Town of Cedar Lake Metropolitan Police Department,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to the law
according to the law,
and to the best of my skills and ability,
and to the best of my skills and abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Pictures real quick? Or we do it afterwards real quick? All right, so just I will let Mr. Stirk go next.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Richard Stirk,
I, Richard Stirk,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of Indiana,
the ordinances of the Town of Cedar Lake,
the ordinances
ordinances,
of the Town of Cedar Lake,
and the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Police Department.
and the rules and regulations of the Town of Cedar Lake Police Department,
And that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly discharge the duties of my office,
and
faithfully, impartially, and honestly discharge the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a probationary patrolman
as a probationary patrolman
of the Town of Cedar Lake Metropolitan Police Department. Town of Cedar
of the
Lake
Town of Cedar Lake as
Police Department,
Police Department,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to the law
according to the law,
and to the best of my skills and ability,
to the best of my skills and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi. That's a mouthful. That's the hard part. So, I'll get some photos here, get my administration up here, go over and say, thank you to the town.
Hey, Bill, we can do the handshakes after.
When they go up there? All right.
Yeah, do your photos.
All right.
While everybody's here, get all your pictures.
Yeah, that's fine. Might need somebody to take that. You gotta get in
No,
the
I tried, but.
Have good morning. Too fast, you gotta slow down.
Write it down.
Good? Good?
We're good.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, welcome to town. Congratulations, good luck to you. Congratulations, welcome. Congratulations, welcome.
Congratulations.
Hey, I'll work with you on this.
They'll be diving in rather quickly. They have applications for the academy next Monday and start the following Monday. So they'll be in the academy in 2 weeks. So, thank you very much.
Well, as always, it's extremely encouraging to see some new blood in the police department. You know, with the climate in society today, I think I share the concern with a lot of people. You wonder who's going to do this job. So thankfully, we still have some people stepping up and expanding our department, protecting our community. So thanks to both of you gentlemen. Look forward to seeing you grow and prosper with our community.
Thank you.
We'll let them file out.
Quite a crowd coming.
Yeah.
Good.
It must be well liked.
Yeah, that's real nice.
Good sign right there.
That's real nice.
It's come to see us. That was just an added bonus.
Yeah.
That was for free.
They came to watch you read at night.
What's that, Chief?
They came to watch Johnny read at night.
Or they came to watch the stand-up act. All right, now let's get down to the exciting stuff. We'll start with public comment on agenda items. Any public comment on agenda items? Third call, public comment on agenda items. Anyone online participating?
No.
Thank you. Public comments closed. We have our consent agenda, the minutes of the June 30, 2021 special meeting and July 6, 2021 meeting. Claims, all town funds, $873,467.37. Wastewater operating, $384,117.41. Water utility, $28,771.62. Stormwater, $163,377.78. And payroll for July 8, 2021 of $307,946.47. Manual journal entries of June 1 through 30, 2021. Use and fee waiver for the Cedar Lake Firefighters Association annual fundraising event. This was scheduled last year before the policy and rate change. Use notification, Lakeside Artists Guild Music Festival, grounds use notification with multiple dates and alcohol waiver for attendees. Tag Day request, Hanover Central Middle School cheer, 9/18 of 2021 with a rain date of 9/25/2021. Donations, DARE, Law Enforcement Partners, $450. Strachan Van Til, in-kind donation, chips and water, approximate value $222. Miscellaneous police donation, Dan and Patty Dowling, $30. Pizza Hut in-kind donation of pizza, approximately $80. Motion to accept and waive the reading of minutes, accept the consent agenda as listed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion?
Yes, one. Tim, there was a $1,200 bill on there for, I thought it was the police department for signal signage or something? Do you know what?
1,200.
Yeah.
There's some signal problems at the light 133rd and Parish, but it wasn't 1,200.
We didn't pay that out yet.
Signals,
I didn't pull that. Maybe
I need more information than signal signage.
It was in, local road and street.
There's one coming up for Parish and 133rd, that's.
Oh, under signage supply, traffic control specialist, $1,192.50. Traffic signs, it should actually say, blockades. Tom needed to order some more of the folding
Barricades,
barricades.
that's what they are.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wondered what kind of signage. Okay, that answers it.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinances, resolutions, item 1, resolution 1286, resolution confirming the authorization of appropriation transfers, local road and street fund 202, transferring the amount of $4,200 from 238 emulsion to 445 equipment. Ms. Amber.
I don't have my resolution in front of me, hang on.
I can have Rick read the,
Yeah, I'll
If
Rick
Rick
can read the
has it in front of
resolution, I'll
him.
go to you for,
Thank you.
just, title only, Rick.
Confirming resolution number 1286, a resolution confirming the authorization of appropriation transfers by the clerk treasurer for the following funds during budget year 2021.
Jen?
So this is for a transfer within local road and streets for $4,200 from the emulsion line item, which is line 238, to line 445, which is equipment. I had previously brought it up, probably a month or so ago. Tim needed to purchase a special saw for the road, I believe it was.
Special concrete stuff.
Special concrete saw. And then there was some discussion for possibly another, capital equipment item coming up. So that's why I'm asking to move the $4,200, so we can make those purchases.
Okay, thank you. You've heard a reading of resolution 1286, explanations or motion by the
So
council
moved.
to approve?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Carnahan,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Scheven. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. BZA plan, item 1 is CLBD Lakeview Business Park PUD approval. This received a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission. Mr. Austin.
This is a zone change recommendation, favorable recommendation unanimously from the Plan Commission. Public hearing was held June 16th and July 7th it concluded. The ordinance before you changes the zoning district classification from A, agricultural, and B2 to PUD, commercial, industrial, with conditions. Those conditions were the same conditions that your Plan Commission certified to you upon its review and analysis last month during the public hearing process. It is a recommendation from me to you that you consider approval subject to finalizing the exhibits to the ordinance, finalizing the development plan, and having Plan Commission approval to that, and that the signatures on the ordinance, if approved, would be withheld pending attachment of all exhibits and completion of those technical details.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to repeat those things at the end here. For now, I'll have Rick read ordinance 1389 by its title only, please.
Ordinance number 1389, an ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana for zoning purposes and amending ordinance number 496 being an ordinance replacing zoning ordinance number 278 entitled Cedar Lake, Indiana zoning ordinance, passed and adopted by the Board of Trustees of the town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto, repealing zoning ordinance number 278 and all amendments thereto, and all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, establishing new comprehensive zoning regulations for the town of Cedar Lake, and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof, in accordance with the provisions of the Indiana state statutes, passed by the Town Council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, the 13th day of December, 1989, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Mr. Austin, once again.
This 33.5 acre parcel is the subject of a zone change recommendation, favorable recommendation from your plan commission to you for change of the zoning district classification of PUD, commercial industrial zoning. And that would be for the entire parcel. The approval is recommended to be made subject to finalization of the exhibits to the ordinance, finalization of the development plan, and agreement by the Plan Commission and the Town Council the same, and that the signatures be withheld pending completion of that while this matter moves forward. One additional item, Mr. President, if I may.
Mr. Austin.
Thank you. This has been a development and a parcel in process for a period of time, from annexation petition approximately a year ago or a little longer to the present. The developer has patiently walked through all of our requirements and all of the technical details and processes. So this is the culmination, if you will, of that extension of our community in the south.
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I would like to make a motion to approve the CLBD Lakeview Business Park PUD approval. As Mr. Austin cited, the commercial industrial PUD and all the requirements zoned for the annex parcel, pending the completion of the exhibits, as he mentioned, the finalization of the development plan, as well as held pending all necessary signatures as discussed. Adopt.
For one reading order.
Motion to adopt.
The motion to adopt is ordinance 1389 for the record.
I'll second it.
There's a second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion?
I would just like to say that it'll be good to have 18 new businesses on US 41 in light industrial and businesses on 41.
That's very exciting. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. Richard Schwartz?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Carry on, gentlemen. And we appreciate the opportunity to do business with you and hopefully see you prosper here in the community. So it's a really exciting proposal you have, and we're still working through the details of we talked about in the utility board meeting, that recapture proposal. We have some policy initiatives to consider there, since it's something that's somewhat new to us. We have to make sure that we put together a policy objective that can fit multiple uses. So that's what we're working on there. So we're not ignoring that part of it either.
We will have water expansion going on in the north, south, and east, and west side of town.
So
As
this
the
is going
years
to be used a
continue,
lot.
so yeah, we're going to use this as an opportunity to make a template.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 2 is Shapiro, variance of use to open a preschool in a B2 zoning district, 13115 Wicker Avenue, units I through J. This received a favorable recommendation from the BZA. Mr. Everly.
Mr. President, the certification is in your packet on pages 11 and 12, and as you mentioned, this received a favorable recommendation from the BZA to the council. Just looking for the council to take action on this. I believe the Shapiros are in the audience back here to your left. But we look forward to welcoming them also as another new business to our community.
I viewed the BZA meeting, and I thought the conversation was good. It was previously a preschool there, so.
Daycare. It was a daycare. This would be preschool, but yes.
It was previously used for
Completely different, right?
children. Not completely. Free school is
They're
daycare.
very touchy about
Right.
that.
But it's a utility stamp. They're like if parents think school is daycare, but. Okay, we have a favorable recommendation from BZA. Is there a motion by the council to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Mr. Austin?
There were conditions, I believe, any recommendations, conditions that the BZA should be included or considered to be included at least.
Would, Mr. Carnahan, would you amend your motion to include the findings of fact and conditions of the BZA?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Sheehan.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call?
I got one thing. Just make sure you come and see us about occupancy load, okay? Yep. Thank you.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Good luck to you guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that needed business to town too. As community grows, people don't think about some of those things, so I'm glad you guys thought about it.
Were you, I wasn't at the BZA, just real quick, are you from around here?
We're just south in Lowell.
Okay, nice.
They want to move to Cedar
They
Lake.
want to
though.
move north, yeah.
Everybody wants
Be
to be
closer
here.
to our business.
Absolutely.
Good luck to you guys.
We always encourage everybody that lives down south to just
Come north.
come on up here.
Just make the jump, just make the jump.
New business, item 1 is CBBEL pay request number 2, Woods of Cedar Creek Improvement, Mr. Everly.
Yes, this is the final pay request for that project that was completed, I believe it was completed late last year, Tim, or was it earlier this year?
No, it was late last year.
Late last year, yeah. So we just, the finish up of that, almost, just under $5,000, second and final pay request.
Thank you. A motion by the council to approve pay request as presented.
So make the motion to approve the pay request of $4,898.50.
I'll give-
Second Bob's motion.
Yep, I'll give that to Mr. Carnahan, second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Items 2 and 3 we'll put together. This is the police department training reimbursement. Item 2 is for Benjamin Tomko. Item 3, Richard Stirk. There a motion to approve both items 2 and 3.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Reports, town council.
The chamber is going to have a townwide yard sale on August the 7th, the first Saturday in August from 8 to 4. And the chamber's also going to have a golf outing on August 22nd. And what is the name of that golf course again?
Denny Maness Golf Course.
It's in Grant Park.
Good golf.
And Jim Bogowski from Elmwood Funeral Home is chairing that.
Okay, any other council? Mr.
I just let the public know, we had an eco restoration meeting today. We talked about a couple of different dewatering facilities, and then we also addressed the timeline as to where we're at. So we're basically ahead of schedule. We're kind of at the pre-final submittal. I think it was due the end of July, so we're right on schedule there. The next major milestone would be permitting, which could happen as early as sometime in August, but we have ample time for that, getting into the January 28th timeframe. So that's just kind of an update on where we're at with the eco restoration project. And there were some discussions about the dewatering facility, the amount of cubic yards that we can handle. If we needed to later, we can make it deeper in order to make the cubic yards a little bit more, if
if we ever got to the point where we had too much money. So that would be a good problem to have.
That would be a good problem.
Thank you. That means.
Any other council reports? Town attorney?
No report.
Clerk treasurer?
About a week ago, was it? Council Affairs Committee members should have received an email in regards to a preliminary budget calendar. That went out, didn't it?
Right.
Okay, I'm not imagining things.
Right, it did.
So, pretty quickly here, since July is almost over, Council Affairs will be meeting together first to discuss the budget, and then we'll discuss with various department heads. So I just ask that Council Affairs members be ready to meet, and if, you know, the dates on that preliminary calendar don't work, please tell us now, because we want to stick to everything pretty tight, because it's going to be coming and going, and I'll be losing my mind.
Losing your mind is fun.
Not during this season, and when I'm still waiting a visit from the SBOA.
I was gonna ask you, have you heard from them?
No,
How
so
exciting.
I'm like completely nervous that we're gonna dive into budget and SBOA is gonna come.
They are around.
They're coming, just, you know. That's all I got.
Thank you,
There's
Janice.
a fine line between chaos and success, John. Don't worry about it.
Town manager?
Mr. President, I wanted to report to you that the Park and Rec Committee met, July 8th, and we discussed the projects that we want to submit to the South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority for that $20,000 grant. We identified 5 projects: Farmers Market, Lakeside Artists Guild, the Knights of Columbus, Trunk or Treat, and the Labor Day Fest, with 4 of those being held here on our town grounds. And we plan to apply for every dime that we can get, the whole $20,000. Knights of Columbus would be the only event that would not be on our grounds. That was the Colleen.
It was the Haunted Forest.
Haunted Forest, yeah.
That was the Haunted Forest.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm told that's a very successful event for them. The Lakeside Artists Guild, that'll be a series of musical concerts here at the Town Hall grounds on Sunday nights, 5 in total, and it'll culminate on Labor Day with a combination of that Music Fest and Labor Day Fest event.
Yeah.
So we're excited to start organizing those kinds of things. So those are the projects.
Good work.
Excellent.
That was it, Mr. President.
Thank you. Director of Operations?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Police Department?
Just 2 things. I don't know if the council's aware, but the state of Indiana has changed the laws for application for gun permits, and there's 0 charge any longer, which was a substantial hit to our training budget, because that's where the money went. So it was nice that Indiana realized that, and Indiana Criminal Justice has put out a grant for loss of revenue due to the permits going away. So we have submitted that, and we're waiting on a response to hopefully get some of the funds back that we would normally get on a yearly basis. And we're working on a grant right now for body cameras, so.
Thank you. Fire Department?
I got a couple things. The boat that was wrecked in the intersection of 30 and 41 was finally settled with the insurance company, so we did get some funds back from that.
Is enough to replace the boat?
No. Not completely. So we're gonna have to look at some different, avenues to it. The remodel of the fire station is supposed to start at the end of this month. I know they're waiting on some, materials yet, and Hen and Sons are waiting. And I guess a lot of it's plumbing stuff, so we're just waiting. We got the whole upstairs all cleaned out already, got rid of a lot of old stuff that was pretty much junk, a lot of old furniture. Filled up the town dumpster full of all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of old crap that we got rid of. The fundraiser for the fire department this year was $37,300, $340 it brought in, which was the most it's ever brought in. We have not figured the expenses yet, so it'll probably be another $8,000 or $9,000 in the expenses for the mail out. We should be somewhere around $28,000 to $30,000. I'm waiting for totals from the treasurer of the Firefighters Association. The ambulance, the old ambulance, I've had some dialogue with everybody on email in reference to what to do with it. We need to narrow down a price. I do have an interested fire department in it, and I would like direction on what you guys would think would be good price for that ambulance to a neighboring department. I've seen them, for that ambulance, it's in really good shape. It would be a very good backup ambulance for somebody, and we've taken very good care of it, but it's old, and it would probably bring $25,000 right now in the market, maybe $30,000.
Wouldn't it be better if, like, because I don't think any of us up here are fire equipment experts. I mean, I'd say, I want $100,000 for it. I love that, but I don't think that's realistic.
Well, we did a comparison of what's on the market right now, and to that ambulance, that's about where it's at, between 25 and 30. Because getting a brand new ambulance right now, as you guys know, we had to wait almost took 8, 9 months to build one, and now you can't get chassis are becoming hard to come by. So there's a lot of departments going out there trying to find decent used ambulances.
Who normally prices these sorts of things, Todd, if you're not like just doing market research?
There's a couple brokers that are out there, and what we did is we just went on their sites, and one is Brindley Mountain Fire and EMS Apparatus Company, and they're out of, I think, Missouri. They're like the biggest in the country, and we did a comparison with the ambulances that are on the market and the date and the year and mileage and stuff, and that's kind of where we came up with that. But after talking to them folks down there, they're like, well, you can literally look, and you could probably get a 25% increase in that cost of that ambulance just because they're hard to get now. And he said, if you're going to buy a new one, and you want to get it in 2023 or 2024, you probably should order it now. It's going to take 2 years to get an ambulance.
And they're saying with vehicles right now, the older vehicles are being sold for more than the new vehicles.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That ambulance it's still functionable. It's a decent ambulance as a backup for somebody.
I like your idea.
So,
Mr. Sharp just recommended $200,000, so I think we're getting closer.
Just to buy a bunch of police cars.
Can you imagine, Chief, selling an ambulance to buy police cars? How much fun that would be? He would lose his mind. He would lose his mind. Have a heck of a good time up here.
I would hate to see somebody get hurt over that. I really would.
That would be a lot of fun, though. We'd have some good meetings.
I'll tell you what, if we get 200 for it, I'll give them half of it. I'm not greedy. He's my brother.
Yeah.
So.
Dave, what should we do?
So what do you
with
think
this
you can get for it?
I think $25,000 is a fair price to ask for.
Can
Well, I
we
like
get
your
something in
second
writing?
30,000.
Can we get something in writing, Chief, on that?
We could try.
No, from you.
No, an offer.
Oh, for me?
Is that what you meant, Randy, from
Yeah,
you?
an offer from some other,
No, I mean, like, none of us really know how to price it.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna come and appraise it. It just doesn't happen. I mean,
Okay.
the only people that would probably do it are our neighbors, and we didn't buy the ambulance from them, so they probably supposed to.
yeah, but maybe they could sell it, they know what they think is wholesale versus retail.
Good idea.
All we're doing is, look, I want, all I'm trying to do, we just did a comparison of what's out there. And that's, I think, the smart or fair thing to do. The ambulance is not worth $50,000.
Which community is interested?
Would we be
The
smart,
Lake Hills Fire Department.
Todd, would we be smart to put it on the website that we sold the Pier at?
We'd be smart to put it anywhere we want, but we gotta come up, we gotta be able to
I like it, Ralph.
say,
Yeah.
Why not?
when this ambulance, when somebody makes an offer on it, we have to go with it, because they're gonna want it right away. Simply because,
$35,000.
Well, on the gov deals, you can put a minimum,
What's that?
you can put a minimum bid on.
35 or 40 is what I was gonna say, yeah. Why not?
On gov deals, you can put a minimum bid on it, that's what we did with the pier.
Sure,
So,
sure.
and, they have to show funds within the first 48 hours, otherwise, you can put it back
I mean, we
on.
could take the chief's recommendation of a minimum of $25,000.
Right.
Right.
See what happens.
Let it bid.
Go up from there.
That's what I would do.
All right, makes sense.
We have a buyer.
Huh?
Lake Hill's sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
Right,
Lake Hills is
there's
interested, yeah,
competition.
they're interested, they're wanting to know tonight if they can get a number.
Yeah,
That's
you
it.
call them up, tell them to bring a check down, they'd have it.
Okay,
Like, I'm just saying.
right.
Well, what are we gonna do here? I mean, we've gotta give the chief some
Do
direction.
they know a number, chief?
No, I haven't told them
Lake
anything.
Hills has no idea.
Well, they're watching right now.
They
Oh, they
they borrowed our ambulance not too long ago, they like it, they're familiar with it, and they're in need of an ambulance right now.
That's the one they borrowed from us.
Yeah.
Well, they help us, don't they? We help each
Yep.
other.
Well, yeah, it's all part of the mutual aid.
It's all mutual aid,
So
yeah.
incredibly beneficial
Benefit us.
going there.
Oh, that ambulance will be back in our community, we'll use them.
Yeah, I would say let's bypass the gov's deal then and come up with a value that we can tell the folks in the public why we went with the 25,000.
Or 30,000.
Or 30, yeah, and protect the taxpayers.
100, 200 for
And
bills.
forego the Indiana.gov or whatever it's called.
I find out you got one penny of that.
No, well, hey, what
So
you
Chief,
need,
can you come up with a,
Good.
get
Can I
somebody
get a
else?
Oh, that's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Armored vehicle.
Oh, yes.
Todd, 30,000?
Hey, Todd, I think Chief Todd, what I would do is ask Lake Hills to get some quotes on comparable years, and/or you do that, and give us something that we can mention. Or printouts of whatever you looked at or whatever.
Yeah.
I've done this in the past.
They're the ones looking for an ambulance, and they're already online.
They're gonna give us some
Right,
quotes.
so the easiest would be is just whatever you looked at
Yeah.
on this site and the comps that you drew up, make sure we've got record of that.
Okay.
The comps,
We can do that.
and base the price on that. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get what you can out of them.
I'm afraid it's gonna be lower than that, but this ambulance is a little bit unique, it's got low mileage on it, so.
Well, if you feel better at 35 or 40, do that.
I feel good at starting at 30 and settling at
It's
20.
not gonna go up from 30.
well, then we'll need
Unless we get
to,
into bidding more, which is always possible.
we'll need to, amend the agenda. Consideration of this, or motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. So the agenda item would be, to give the chief authority to sell what year is that ambulance?
2005,
2005 Ford
yeah.
ambulance, for a price not below 25,000. Is that fair?
That's fair.
That's fair.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
One second.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Can we put the proceeds towards, the rescue tools that I did send out, as a possible option to use the money for?
I think it's, Bill has got an idea for that 30 grand, don't you?
Sure do.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
No, I think it's gotta be receipted back on the general
It's
fund.
gotta go back to general fund.
I
That's fine,
did
but
some
we,
research and find out where it was paid for from in the beginning. I think that was part
It
of
is
the
a town
original
ambulance, not a
discussion when we had
township,
those
right?
emails.
no, it's the town's ambulance, it was bought by the town prior to the fire department being part of the town.
Right.
It was absorbed into the fire department as we merged.
Yeah,
and
so
then
that
given
one
back-
belongs to the Old Town Ambulance Service.
Yeah, so that's old documents I need to locate.
Not that.
I wanna say it was bought from, I was on the ambulance commission at the time. I wanna say it was purchased from the non-reverting fund. I think so, the EMS non-reverting
The
fund.
EMS.
Yeah.
Well, once she gets us some information, I don't think there'll be, just put an agenda item together and get it done.
Yeah, we'd like to replace it with a 30-year-old set of rescue tools, jaws.
Okay.
Also with that, the association did buy, a new thermal imaging camera. We actually replaced two, one came out of the fire department's budget, the other one came out of the association bought the other one. So there was another $8,000 of expenses, or four from the association, four from the equipment line item from the town, to replace two of our really old thermal imagers, so we're up to date on those. But that was a project that the association took on as well, so.
Thank you. Anything else? No. Grid Communications Building Department report.
Looks like we had another record month in June, huh?
Yes, and obviously, if we maintain this pace, we'll hit 450 home permits by the end of the year.
Yeah, we're right.
We did 279 last year in a record year.
And we're almost there.
Okay.
One more month.
Giddy up. All right, Christopher Burke report. Any highlights, Mr. Everly?
No, just for your reading pleasure, Mr. President.
Public comment? Any public comment? Sir,
I just wanted to say thank you for...
your name and address, please.
Andy Anderson. I'm the founder of the Lakeside Art Skill.
Yeah.
So...
We know who you are, but we want the public.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm just excited to see this all coming together. I just spent a boatload of money on new sound equipment so that we'll be able to fill the park better. And our first concert's gonna be all Beatles show.
Oh, wow.
So...
Very cool.
It'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
That is
What time do
awesome.
they start?
They're gonna be 5 p.m. on Sundays.
5 p.m. on Sunday.
If I were you, I would get somebody on a jet ski
Here we go.
with a pot
Yeah.
and ask all the voters if you would like to make a donation to the Artist Guild. And I think you would probably find it to be a successful endeavor.
Might make some money. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Because many people are gonna park there.
I
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, well, the other thing, I was wanting to know, you guys, because you've done a lot of things here. I'm thinking of facing the lake so that people aren't staring into the setting sun.
The setting sun, you have it,
Yeah, and also I was thinking the lakefront between the stage and the lake
That's where it should be.
is really beautiful. That's the nicest part of the park.
I think it's.
Well, it
great.
depends on
So
how
I
many
was
people
gonna
you
face
get though.
west.
It depends on how many people you get though, you're gonna have seating capacity for all that.
I don't,
Did you happen to come down for the fireworks display?
I was on the other side of the lake.
Yeah, you should've.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would've been no room for your band equipment.
You know, it'd be a good problem to have, too many people between the fan shell and the lake.
That's
Yeah.
right. No,
I
that's
would
not a
start
good
doing
problem.
that.
Yeah.
And then that way folks on the lake can hear it better, because
Yeah.
that's my,
I think the police chief
you
should.
know, that's
That's not
kind
a
of
good
my
problem to
argument.
It'd be
Whenever we have
We have
concerts here on the
tons of
lake,
areas.
the music's heading east,
Yeah.
sound waves or analog signals, they go that way.
Yeah.
And
And I was hearing, it's a free concert, so people can pull up their boats, sit on the lake, that's part of our option.
we got that nice boardwalk on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
and what a great place to pull on just.
Yeah. And the alcohol is the one thing that I was worried about. I wasn't sure. I play Grant Park, and people bring wine, and they bring their own.
When the symphony's played here, people bring their own booze.
Okay.
I think we have made motions with the symphony to allow
We did
alcohol on the
that
grounds.
tonight, too.
We did that.
Okay, so I wanted to stand up and say thank you so much for your role in making this happen. It's really wonderful, and I know my musicians are delighted to get to play. I think this is the best venue
In Lake County.
anywhere. I mean, it's really great. So, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome thing what
I
you're
do have one thing under public comment, I did forget to read into the, record of the winners update, the raffle for the fire department. Donald Brister won the grand prize from, 135th and Cedar Lake. Fry the Groot. She's from, Fright the Groot. It's a very strange name.
Sure.
Won the 500, and Michael Felty won the 250 from the township.
My God.
You better mind your own business.
Tim, could you read that?
So,
It says Frank Groot.
hey,
I went to night school also.
hey, at least I could recite the oath. okay? Don't even start with it, please don't.
I'm not, I wasn't complaining about the way you were speaking, I said it was right through.
It's all one word.
I know.
All one name, so.
I was
it's
agreeing with
really
you.
strange.
Thanks for that, Scott.
But that was also posted live on Facebook, so, just so, we get people ask every year who won. That's what we're here for.
Any other public comment? Anything online, Bethany?
No, no one.
Public comments closed. Our next town council, public meeting will be Tuesday, August 3rd.
What about press session? We do have it on, and we have the press here.
Okay. Anything from the press? Okay. Thank you, Bob.
It's always after adjournment, Bob.
Our next council meeting will not be in 2020, though, for the record. August 3rd, 2021, 7 PM. Meeting adjourned.
Are we still on for the